off the top, our SEC passing overachievers, overachievers is an interesting term for this group, at least, because, if you ask the fan bases of Alabama and Georgia, for sure, we give them an an A- overall record. That's by their standards, right? Like, we are obviously, grading on a curve here. Obviously, Alabama and Georgia had an objectively better season than Missouri or Ole Miss. They made it to the SEC championship game. In Alabama's case, they made it to the college football playoff. But, Missouri and Ole Miss winning a New Year's Six game is a huge, huge step for that program. And then you got Texas, the newcomer in the SEC, arguably having the best season out of this group, finally breaking through and making it to the college football playoff. Obviously, the Sugar Bowl didn't go how they wanted it to, but they finally proved a lot of naysayers wrong in making it that far and doing what they're supposed to do, right? Winning the Big 12 in dominating fashion in a lot of cases in a lot of those games, and making it to the promised land of the college football playoff.
Yeah, and obviously Texas not doing this in the SEC this year, but right. You can't take it away from them. They had a fantastic season, and the idea that Texas is back certainly has more legs than it's had in a long time, right? And we'll see how they transition into SEC play next year, but I think there's a lot of people with a lot of reasons to think they should do pretty well. And so, great job for Texas. Ole Miss, I think, what was it, their first 11-win season ever or something like that, is or at least in a very long time. And so
it was the first time they'd ever won 11 games. Yeah.
Right. Which is crazy because, you think with that program, they would have been able to break through. They've had some really good teams, especially even the last 10 years. And so I think, that was a massive mark for them. Missouri, the darling of college football this year, maybe just look at Missouri. There they go. They don't really have the recruiting. They don't really have the transfers necessarily, but they nailed a couple of transfers and they nailed a couple of recruiting spots. And they put a good team on the field. Luther Burden breaking through and just everything on that team. I love what was happening there. And then you got the big dogs, right? Alabama, Georgia, good seasons, just felt like they fell a little bit short. That's why we can't really give them those top marks because I don't think those fan bases were satisfied with the seasons either, right?
Right.
You get a Rose Bowl appearance for Alabama in the playoff, great. You get the SEC title, great. They're not necessarily not used to that. Bama wins the SEC title frequently, but you fall short, right? You don't make it to the title game. You don't win the bowl game you're in. Georgia wins their bowl game over kind of a hapless, shell of FSU. But, that's not what Georgia wanted going into the season. They were eyeing the three-peat, and they fell short of that mark. And so great seasons for everyone. Nobody should feel bad about these seasons. All these teams should be in contention for the SEC next year. But I do agree. There's some places where all of them fell short. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we give them the grades we give them based on their expectations. I think the only team that really exceeded the expectations they had going into the year was Texas, who I think a lot of Texas fans thought they were going to be better. A lot of Texas fans thought they might even win the conference, but I don't think any of them really expected to be as good as they were and as dominant as they were at times and still make the college football playoff with not really that much doubt, get the 3 seed. It was a really impressive run for them this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gracious him. How about that?